I still remember the evening like it was yesterday, even though years have passed. Life has a way of throwing storms our way when we least expect them, and at that time I felt like I was in the middle of one with no umbrella, no shelter, and no way out. I was living in a small town in Ohio, raising my daughter Emily while balancing a demanding job at the library and dealing with the lingering grief of losing my father. The house felt heavy, like the walls carried echoes of a sadness I was trying so hard to conceal. My sister, Hannah, was always the more cheerful one in the family. She had two kids, Sarah and Jacob, and they often visited us. Jacob was her youngest, barely 15 at the time, but he had this quiet warmth about him. He wasn't the loud, restless teenager type most people expected. Instead, he had a gentle way of noticing things, little details that many adults would overlook. It was on a Friday evening, after a long week of juggling work and parenting alone, that Hannah called and asked if Jacob could come over to help me out with some things around the house. She said he was eager to do something useful, and since Emily loved spending time with her cousin, I agreed without hesitation. I didn't realize then that this simple visit would change me in ways I couldn't have imagined. When Jacob arrived, he walked in with a shy smile, carrying a grocery bag his mom had packed. "Mom said you've been busy, so I thought I'd bring some snacks," he said. Inside were Emily's favorite cookies, some juice, and even a small bunch of flowers wrapped in newspaper. I blinked back tears because it had been such a long time since anyone had thought of doing something so kind for me. That evening, as Emily played with her dolls in the living room, Jacob helped me with small chores. He dusted the shelves, carried laundry upstairs, and even fixed the loose knob on the cabinet that I had been ignoring for weeks. He wasn't asked to do any of this, he just noticed and acted. I found myself watching him quietly, realizing how rare it was to see such maturity in someone his age. Later that night, after Emily had gone to bed, I sat on the couch staring at the stack of bills on the coffee table. My chest tightened with the weight of responsibility, and without realizing it, tears spilled down my cheeks. Jacob walked in, holding 2 mugs of hot chocolate he had made. He froze when he saw me crying, and I quickly tried to wipe my face. But instead of looking uncomfortable or pretending not to see, Jacob set the mugs down and sat beside me. "Aunt Laura," he said softly, "you don't always have to be strong. It's okay to let it out." His words hit me like a gentle wave. I couldn't hold back anymore. I sobbed quietly, and he simply sat there, not saying much, but offering presence, something far more valuable than words. When I finally calmed down, I felt embarrassed. "I'm sorry, Jacob," I said, my voice shaky. "You shouldn't have to see me like this." He shook his head. "You don't have to apologize. You've always been there for me and Sarah. You've done so much for everyone. Maybe it's time someone's there for you too." In that moment, I saw not just a teenager but a young man with empathy far beyond his years. His kindness cracked open a part of me that had been buried under months of exhaustion and grief. The days that followed were filled with small yet meaningful moments. Jacob stayed the weekend, and every morning he'd make pancakes for Emily while I got ready for work. He helped her with homework, listened to her endless stories, and even taught her how to fold paper airplanes. I watched the two of them laughing together, and for the first time in months, the house felt alive again. One evening, while I was preparing dinner, Jacob walked into the kitchen. "Aunt Laura," he said, hesitating a little, "I know things have been tough for you, but I want you to know you're not alone. You have me, Mom, Sarah, and Emily. We're all here." I had to turn away, because tears stung my eyes again. I didn't want him to see how deeply his words touched me. But later that night, when Emily was asleep, I thanked him. "Jacob, you'll never know how much this means to me," I whispered. He gave me that same shy smile and shrugged. Sometimes helping is the only thing that makes sense. As the weeks turned into months, Jacob continued to visit often. He'd mow the lawn, fix leaky faucets, and even repaint Emily's room with bright yellow walls because she said she wanted sunshine inside. I realized that his visits weren't just helping me practically, they were healing something inside me that had been broken for a long time. There was one particular day that stands out. I had come home from work feeling defeated after a difficult meeting. I walked in to find Jacob and Emily sitting on the floor, building a tower out of blocks. When they saw me, Emily ran into my arms, giggling, and Jacob smiled. For a moment, I just stood there, soaking it in. The laughter, the warmth, the sense of belonging I thought I had lost. That night, after tucking Emily into bed, I found Jacob sketching in his notebook. Curious, I asked what he was drawing. He showed me a picture of a house surrounded by trees, with sunlight streaming through the windows. "It's your house," he said. But I drew it brighter, because that's how it feels now. I had to cover my mouth to stop from crying again. It was true. Somehow, through his quiet gestures, his thoughtfulness, and his heart, Jacob had brought light back into our lives. Years later, when Jacob graduated high school, I sat in the audience with tears of pride. He gave a speech about kindness and the importance of being there for others. He didn't mention me by name, but I knew some of those words were for me. Today, when I look back, I realize that the story wasn't about sadness or struggle. It was about how love, even in its simplest forms, can transform everything. My nephew's kindness reminded me that family isn't just about blood. It's about showing up, caring deeply, and carrying each other through the storms. And sometimes, the most unexpected people can end up being the ones who save you, not with grand gestures, but with quiet acts of compassion that leave a mark forever.